When we receive constructive criticism or just negative comments from our markers and instructors, that can feel really demoralizing. Of course, it does not feel good to read over, comments in the margins or sort of final marking comments that draw attention to faults in our writing. However, it's really important that you reflect on those comments and use them as an opportunity to identify the specific things that you can improve on moving forward and in your next kind of performance as a writer. What we want to do is not go into an anxious spiral about every single mistake we make, but instead focus on identifying patterns and trends. If there was one time 3 semesters ago when one instructor told you that they didn't like how you constructed sentences, that is not a pattern. That isolated comment, frankly, isn't something I would concern myself about when I'm proofreading future work. A pattern would be if in 3 of my last 4 written assignments, I have missed points because of inconsistency in how I format my citations. That would constitute a pattern. There is one of my key priorities as a writer, and this is something that I am going to put at the top of my list to look out for when I am proofreading. So this varies from one writer to the next. My areas to look out for will not be the same as yours. Yours will not be the same as your peers. For example, I love to just use a semicolon. I use way too many semicolons. So when I am proofreading, I specifically do a round of reading where I just get rid of 75% of my semicolons because it's obnoxious. This leads us into the tangible strategy that we're going to apply to our proofreading. And this tactic I call the targeted sweeps tactic. It can be overwhelming to proofread when you're thinking, I need to be on the lookout for grammar, spelling, awkward sentences, my citations, repetition of words, repetition of sentence structures. If I am trying to look for all of that at once, the odds are really high that errors are going to slip through and I'm just going to feel like an overwhelmed mess. So when we work in targeted sweeps, what we instead do is we use our own list of key priorities and areas to work on, right? And we build a list where we do our proofreading in rounds. And in each round of proofreading, we choose just one set of issues or one category to look out for. For example, you might decide that in your first round of proofreading, you are only going to do a sweep for your sentence clarity. So just do your sentences read smoothly in terms of their construction. I'll start at the top of my document, and I will read all the way to the end, only looking for that issue. Once I get to the bottom, I'll return to the top, and I'll pick my next area of focus. So maybe this time I want to look out for word repetition. Am I kind of overusing the same little fancy academic words? I'm going to start at the top, and again, I'm going to read all the way to the bottom of the document, looking only for that problem and making changes as I go along. I go back to the top, I pick my next area of focus, go to the bottom, repeat, repeat as needed. You might be thinking to yourself, doing like 7 rounds of proofreading doesn't sound efficient. But trust me, you're going to be operating more efficiently if your mind is focused on finding just one thing